Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Oh yes, it's the pre-match time as Gambit have edged their way a little bit further forward, but they're not done yet. They're now going up against Syman Gaming once again, but it's going to be a best of 3 this time around. And joining me to break this one down is going to be Pimp and Blair as always. And this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, right? Because like we were saying before, as we saw what Gambit were able to do here, they had a struggle on the best of 1, but they need to deliver that A game that we just saw again without so many of the mistakes that make you cringe, Pimp.
Yeah, the mistakes that makes me cringe, James. I think there wasn't too many about them in this game. I think Gambit played overall, you know, a decent game of Counter-Strike. That said, Nemiga didn't do too well either themselves, so it was a little bit of a cheap notice, so to speak. But I do believe Gambit will have to step it up a notch more if they want to be sure to win against Syman Gaming, who so far has been very impressive in this tournament.
Well, let's get into the rosters and have a look at them. Let's start with looking at Gambit, Blair.
Yeah, I mean, like, you just saw them play right now, right? So we got, of course, Mr. Bondik, who obviously came in as a star player. We have Mo, who's been really going off this tournament. You know, he's supposed to be a star player alongside Bondik. Mir, of course, a rock. Used to be such a great player once upon a time, but he's still finding himself at the moment. Dosha, of course, the veteran in the team. And more importantly, that player at the bottom of that list was Axel, who has started to come into his own. I think I'm looking to see more from him going into this tournament. For Syman Gaming, this is a team who has surprised me, to be very honest. Sanji, Perfecto, Neelan, I Disbalance, one of the hardest names to pronounce if you're a caster, Pimp. But at the same time, I think he was really going off yesterday.
He was doing super well. Actually, a guy that I got to see during the Join the Republic tournament, I think that was being held in Sweden, you know, where he was sort of like coming in and being, you know, a outstanding guy, you know, and being playing on the CIS team, and didn't really, you know, nobody knew him at that tournament, but he was doing pretty well there as well, and he got some more experience playing under the leading of Senya, I believe. So he was bringing him in there and giving him some land experience. So these guys are definitely here to prove themselves as the new stars of the CIS region, and I think, as said yesterday, they played really well, and if they want to win against Gambit, they have to do that again.
So how do we think this is going to work out from that, right? Because you're going up against a Gambit now that certainly look a lot better than what we saw yesterday, but also going into a best of 3, so you can't just get away with a 1 win, right? You've got to do this consistently against the team of Gambit, who are so experienced in these kind of situations.
The thing is, they are the underdogs, right? Without a doubt, and Syman Gaming is not necessarily thinking that to themselves, because as you said, they were winning against Gambit yesterday 16-12 in a rather convincing win, I would say. It was not like Gambit were by any means taking charge of that game or pushing them to the brink of a defeat. So a convincing win from Syman Gaming yesterday. So to themselves right now, and their own self-belief, so to speak, they're the favorites going in against Gambit, and that's going to be a great driving factor, so to speak, for Syman coming into this matchup.
Well, we are just going to go and look at the Syman Gaming video to learn a little bit more about this team that impressed us yesterday. Yeah, definitely don't go on the close.
Overall feelings of it that we qualified to the minor is that it's feeling good. We qualified, we want to show people who we are, like what we are playing, which we are a team, and from where we are. I think we have a lot, like, experience to take it to the major. Like Sanji, he's a VPL player. He played a lot also on the lands. Me, Torik, played a lot of also LAN tournaments, a lot of good online tournaments also. And Neelan played Vesk with the K23, with Adran, Mo, who is the like big nicknames in the Counter-Strike. And we just put it together with the young players and doing our play style. I think we can do it to the major.
A humbled Syman Gaming, as we're going to go and approach this veto fast and furious and look at which way we think this may go. Now, we're kind of aware of the insta-bans that come into it, but it's the picks that will come into play of how this one will go and be the more interesting factor here between these two teams.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the nuke ban coming out from Gambit again, I think they switched this thing up. They used to go for the pick earlier on, but for this tournament, they're going for the nuke bans early on, which is interesting, but as long as it works, it works. Train is what's going to get a little interesting here, Pimp, right? So Syman have beaten Gambit on it. They would be like, maybe we can do it again, but then Gambit looked really good today against Nemiga, right? So I'm just going to throw it to you. Like, if you were Gambit or if you were at Syman, who would go with the Train pick here?
I mean, if I were Gambit, I would be happy if Syman picked it, and if I were Gambit themselves, I would pick it myself. Train is the go-to map, and yes, you were right. They did lose to Syman yesterday, but it's so easy to look at a best-of-1 series and think, all right, we did these mistakes, we did these tendencies that we need to get rid of, and if we do that, we play into our own strength, and we're probably going to win because we are the better team. That's sort of like how all, you know, favorites approach a situation where they already one time lost a map against a certain opponent.
Yeah, well, looking at the map picks right now, I think it's going to go to Train at the very end here. No one wants to really take the gamble saying, we're going to pick it as our home map. So Dust to pick coming out from Gambit, not too surprised about that. Mirage from Syman Gaming, where they did take Spirit to overtime. They did show they have some chops on that particular map. Although the T side left a lot lacking, to be very honest, on Mirage. So it was pretty bad for Spirit as well, to be very honest, right? So I'm a little surprised with the Mirage pick. But there we go. It is going to be Train. Neither team's really looking to go for the first pick on Train, nor going for the ban. If it goes to the third map, I think it's going to get a little interesting.
I think it could be very interesting as well, especially the fact that the first map is Mirage, you know. The fact that Gambit is the team picking Mirage is quite interesting to me.
Well, we need to go straight into the games. Let's back with Tom and Jason.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, about to get this underway. A best of 3 here with Mirage, D2, and Train. I'm curious to see how Mirage is actually going to play out for the first time here. But also, we've seen Mo's looking good today on Gambit. This balance looked fantastic yesterday and was the first person we've seen to be able to deal with DAF costs, more importantly. How do you feel like this series is going to go?
I think you still have to lean the way of Gambit, even though they lost yesterday. They've come into today looking completely different. It wasn't a one-man show. Mo was good yesterday, but we've seen strong performances on Train from Mir, then Dosia. Then in the second map, they didn't have that much to do because Bondic and Axile were playing phenomenally well. So I can't really complain about the fact that as a team they're playing very well indeed. Now, of course, on the other side, different opponent. These are the guys that beat them yesterday and in a strong form. But at the same time, if you go into this saying, look, I don't think that this time Gambit are going to go in overconfident. They lost to them yesterday. They've had Blade probably kick them up the arse a little bit and say, look, you need to fix things. And hey, I think they're going to come in strong in this one. However, Mo already dead.
Well, unfortunate for him. Round's not over just yet. We still have Gambit with 4 plays. Let's live, though. Mir is on low HP. Bomb going to be planted. And interesting to see that, actually. Syman not actually pushing towards CT spawn to clear that angle. Instead, they want the close quarter combat fight. You can see the flashbang coming through perfectly here. But Disbalance is going to be there in time to help him out here. And just like that, Neelan Disbalance, the 2-man team, closes this out and takes the pistol round.
Yeah, really strong start. Great pistol round coming out from them. A fast play onto the A site, and it seemed that Gambit were over 1 from the get-go. Now they're going to go investing straight in for this one, obviously wanting to save up the extra money over the future rounds to make sure that they get themselves all the extra trimmings, like the utility, get the AWP in play, of course, because I think Mo's going to need to somewhat dominate that middle area if they're going to have much of a chance in this battle. But yeah, in all honesty, I think this map is going to be probably the most interesting one for me to see how much they can actually do.
Disbalance for me, I mean, see them against Spirit and how they dealt with things. They really depended on Disbalance to be the one to open up a lot of locations around the map. As AWP, like I said before, was the only one to be able to deal with Davcost, who was having a fantastic set of games yesterday. And I feel like that's something that Gambit might have to respect quite a bit.
Even still, they've started off this round very strong. A tag and an early kill to kick things off. Syman Gaming going to be rotating back around to look towards the A side now. There's already 3 players ready and waiting for the CT side, but it looks like Mo's considering the rotation off. Maybe due to the footsteps being heard around that apartments area. You can see Torek making a little bit of noise. Look at the aggression from Bondic. No, Disbalance just going to survive. Low on HP as well, but it is whittling away at the remaining players, and an extra smoke even going to be thrown down just to buy a bit of extra time for the Gambit side. It seems like they are setting up quite nicely for the rest of this round. And again, we're going to see the T's now rotating off of this site and attempting to head in towards B. Now, the clock is beginning to tick a little low, but there's only 1 man here. It's meant to do it all.
It's going to be hard with just a Deagle, but at least he's got a decent pistol to use here. Rotation's coming now in. Doja going to be the first one in towards Kitchen. Try to watch the cross potentially. They've let him into sight, so they're playing for the retake. I don't see a kit, though, on the side of Gambit, so it's going to be tough to actually get this one off. Torek being taken down, extremely low HP, eventually going to be finished off here, but it doesn't matter because they've been able to get the bomb down. After plant situation, and Doja's trying to make the push happen, but Axel from behind is not going to have a chance. Perfecto. Someone who I think struggled with confidence yesterday, started off strong.
Yeah, and it's left all onto Mo. Sanji may be low, but his teammate is full HP, and the remaining players of this team managed to, well, basically ward off what was a pretty risky round for them in the end. It came a little bit too close for comfort. Now, obviously, yeah, we talk about the idea of Perfecto not having the sort of best start to a lot of the games. I do think on the CT side of this map, he was doing a great job of actually holding down B. He's also the man who got his arm half whacked off by the coach.
That's
because,
true.
Obviously, for that very reason, to try and boost his confidence a little bit. But the only thing that was interesting for me was he was having a lot of success with the AUG and then decided to switch to the Silenced M4, and that was actually where things went wrong for him in the latter rounds of it. I think maybe just thinking that he could do a little bit better, but, well, if it ain't broke, all that good stuff. Either way, knowing that there's an eco in here, Sanji's going to try and pad his stats a little bit, just using the P250. Won't make him a huge amount of money like the Mac 10 will, but at the same time, it's done the job.
And we were actually, again, sitting yesterday watching the EU games, talking with the CEO, Eldar, and he was saying how, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty public knowledge, that Gambit actually tried picking up Sanji at one point. Tried recruiting him as a player, and instead he decided to stay with Syman Gaming, and now he has the opportunity to play against the team who wanted to secure him before the minor actually started, and potentially get his own team into the major. So it's cool to see, a little, not rivalry, so to say, but to kind of see how this Battle of the Titans is going to wear down.
Yeah, that does seem to be a thing, though, with Gambit. Like, a lot of the time when it comes to picking up the players, they are going, obviously, straight to their, direct rivals in a lot of these situations and trying to, what would basically be destroy the team while benefiting them, which I suppose if you've got the finances to do it, then do it. But it's interesting to see that Syman Gaming have decided to stick together. Sanji's stuck with the boys, and we'll see if that was the right decision to make. They have the chance to eliminate them here. 3-0 start. It is going to be that big buy coming in, though, for Gambit. They've got the AWP. They've got a reasonable amount of utility. The majority of it stepping into the hands of Bondic. But on the T side, pretty much in the same scenario.
Saji's going to be by himself as well, pushing up towards the B site. Well, they have a 4-player stack in middle. Something Syman did quite a bit in their game yesterday versus Spirit. Just go for that early control in middle and let Disbalance just kind of do his thing, right? He's had a ridiculous amount of shots yesterday that really helped carry them through, even though they did lose 2-0. They still brought that one extremely close, and that little drop down does give Doja the information. Torque going to come in from short, gets it straight out to Mirror and onto Doja. So just like that, the two players have been able to open up this B site. The bomb rotating in from short. You have Neelan flanking in from middle as well, from the window. And now Bondic has so many angles to cover, but he's pretty much by himself. He's separated from Axile.
He does at least manage to pick off one, but the flashbang will leave him completely blind. His teammate's making a long rotation all the way back through. It seems like the B site has been the point of contention so far in this map, and, well, Gambit have not been able to hold. That was a really nice little bait and switch, really, from Sanji. He made all the noise, and then his teammate did all the damage, but realistically now this just turns into a save attempt from the remaining players on Gambit. Now, they do have the max loss bonus coming in the next round anyway, so they can potentially drop over a couple of weapons if they manage to save what they've got, but at least for now, well, the scoreboard's only really going to tell one story. I'm interested in the fact that the Torix, that said he had 29 ADR and 4 kills.
Yeah, that doesn't...
That's impressive. Well, if all the players were low, then sure.
All right. Kind of ADR I think I get my games, just 4 kills more. Perfecto, I wonder how he's going to perform, though, over the course of this series, because this is a very important series, obviously, and we've seen Syman Gaming already beat Gambit before yesterday. That was on Train, where he talked about how Gambit, they come back the next day. If they get the chance to, repeat an opponent, they're a lot more prepared than they were the first time. But we haven't seen that just yet out of them. Obviously, it was just the first gun round, or the first real gun round, so you can't really judge them just at this moment. But Syman looked pretty confident. They look pretty good.
Yeah, and they've already started to bulk up on their economy. Like a couple of players around that sort of 5,000-6,000 marker, which this early in the game is always going to be a positive showing. Either way, it's the same sort of strategy here. Sanji looking to try and probe into the B site as he has support for the remainder of his team. Dosia just going to be sat close, but the Molotovs trying to rein in and clear the angle. They haven't actually succeeded, so he's going to be able to steal one away. In fact, the second as well with the 5-7. And now there's even a flank coming in from Axar, the one man with the rifle. He has a bit of support behind him as well. And this time Perfecto's not going to just pop his head straight off. This is not looking good now, and a potential chance for so much money to be made by the side of Gambit. They can not only win the round, but they can steal some weapons as they do it. However, Torek, he's looking to make a stand and fight this back.
In the meantime, though, you can see Mir's able to pick up the AWP. Doja able to get the AK. I don't think Mir was heard as he dropped in towards underpass, but they're actually not even watching the bomb directly. It's going to come down to Mir, who's actually going to be heard 100% by Torg. He's going to push it. He gets the headshot through the wood plank off to the side. And with the smoke going down, there's a realistic chance he should be able to pick up this bomb and potentially clutch this round out. It's going to come down to this 1v1 with him up against Doja. He's got 38 seconds, so he could commit towards B. He still could rotate back towards A if he wants to. But I kind of like this position because it allows Doja to hear if he does go for the rotate back towards A. At least it did until Torek was able to walk back a little bit further towards T-spawn.
Yeah, I think Dosia will soon have to realize that this is going to be a switch up over to the other side. Now, as long as it's a fairly safe plant coming out from Torek, then he shouldn't have too many problems. It's if he goes for a more open plant, maybe towards the connector, that there'll be a bit more risk. But nope, the standard plant, the default spot will be taken, and well, now Dosia has to rotate in. The problem is he doesn't have a kit. I don't even think he knows that it's A just yet. Didn't spot anybody crossing, but clearly just had that little seed of doubt that he potentially could have crossed. But now a little bit of extra time wasted, which is exactly what Torek needs. Dosia, is he going to check? He does, and just instantly headshots Torek. It was a nice attempt, of course, from the man from Syman Gaming, and he's at least reduced the amount of weaponry they'll be able to save. But Dosia, again, he's another man who's having a very good day in terms of his level of CS. A huge step up from yesterday.
Well, he got a double kill with the 5-7 towards B. Was able to turn that into a third kill at the end of the round to actually save it for himself. Also, the rotate coming in. I'm surprised to see that we had Mirror and Axel actually get through underpass without being spotted, because there was a player in middle. Maybe he just arrived a little bit too late. Maybe he wasn't watching the angle correctly. A lot of ifs. In the end, Gambit will be able to take the round and finally be able to put their first one on the board. And look at this. I think they were able to save the AWP from last round, and now they were able to afford... Actually, I think they bought up the double op. I think Doja saved the AK.
Yeah, wait, he must have done.
He must have.
Either that or he's just found
Good job,
one,
Jason.
which that's cheating, but either way, it's just going to be a... Looks like a aggressive play in towards this A site. The problem is their one man in Palace has already been removed. You wonder if Syman Gaming might want to just back out of this and not just go barreling into the A site early on. Axel going to be spraying through, and a few bullets sent back in return will keep Mo over in hand. The nade, did that do nothing? How did that do nothing?
Nah, it hit the bottom of the lip and he was above it, so he was shielded from it.
You know, that's how it works.
That's how nades work.
Grenades go off next to you, but you know.
It was under him, and there was a wall between him and the nade.
Okay, we'll test that outside. You go get a grenade and have a little bit of a lip of a wall, and we'll see if your legs survive.
I've got really long legs, though, so it's not really fair.
You'll just be normal height by the end of it. Either way, it is the switch up, at least from a couple of the players. The bomb's still down in T-spawn, so again, they're just looking to try and find the picks. Dosia, same angle, different gun. He's got the AK this time, and, well, Neil, you're not going to get away with that one, trying to dance past Dosia. Either way, they are pushing into the site. Again, the bomb is still in spawn. There's 35 seconds coming up on the clock, and finally we're going to see Sanji look to retrieve it. They have managed to gain some control in towards the site, and Perfecto winning another battle turns it into a 3v3. The fact is he can't actually leave the connector because of Dosia's position without first removing the big man himself. And with 15 seconds left on the clock, the bomb's finally going to make it in, but already they managed to pick off another 2 players ready and waiting, and Sanji, there's no way he can plant this bomb. He's got to try and just go for the safest one possible, and Dosia's already spotting him out from short. This round is all but done. Gambit, they get their second in a row, and Syman, well, I don't know about the finances. I think they had a little bit spare going into the next.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think 3,700 for Perfecto, about 3K for Nealon, about 2,600 for this balance. But that's going to be tough now because we're up against the double opposite here for Syman, so they're going to have to pick up the pace, maybe look for a rush, maybe to catch double offs off guard and prevent them from doing what they do best. Already heading in towards middle with 2 players going over towards B. Middle's going to be pushed up. Mirror's going to be there as well, but they're both going to be smoked off, so good placings on the smokes. Are they able to capitalize off of this to turn it into a frag? I think Disbalance was kind of spotted out there, but Mo's going to fall to Torek.
Yeah, Dosia on the other side has been winning that battle quite a lot versus Sanji. I think he needs to sort of switch up what he's doing, because if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 rounds in a row now. He's gone down to the exact same player in the exact same spot. So clearly needing a little bit of a change, and that helps with the almost change in man advantage as it swings into the favor of Gambit. Still trying to probe in towards the connector. I'm interested by Axel's spot. He's currently, I imagine he's sat underneath, yeah. Just be waiting. Bongdik's going to go down, peeking into mid. So they've got the information that there's at least a couple of players in middle. a lot of aggressive positions currently being held by the remaining players, and this balance has to be careful. That's the problem. Axar has that surprise factor that's able to grab him a kill. Dosia as well, spotting another into the mid spot. Leaves only one man to the imagination.
They can sneak through or towards short, though. There's actually, I don't think anyone watching that direction. Torque might be able to catch Doja off guard. If they get this frag, that's going to be a bomb plant going down. Perfecto as well, rotating back in towards the B side. Seems like they want to hit this direction. Doja to be able to do it before. Can he hold on to this yet again? Yeah, the call should be made. Yeah, with the rotation, Amir is going to be coming in, so we need to see Syman pick up the pace here. Doja's going to spot up Perfecto. It's going to come down to this 1v1 battle. Doja is going to be able to win this one out. The bomb not going to be planted at the moment with 13 seconds left. Smoke over towards Kitchen. You can see Amir just waiting to hear that ticking before he does peek around the corner. Spots him out. Bomb gets put down either way. But that still would be another round on the board here for Gambit.
Even still, that bomb plant does actually make quite a big difference. That will allow them to almost get a buy on the board. I think it's going to be pretty close. And yeah, the round, wow, they could go for some pistols here, maybe pick up an AK or two as the loss bonus will be building up. I don't know if they'll fully invest, as a few of the players are around the $3,000 marker, which definitely not ideal. If they really wanted to, they could force him with Galils, and they have done a reasonable amount of damage over the last few rounds, so maybe just going to talk things through a little bit. But it is going to be Gambit slowly getting themselves back into this game after what was a good early streak from the side of Syman.
Quick little update as well, since we still have 2 streams going on. The Prosto versus Runtime game is still going, actually.
Yeah, third map.
16-8 for Runtime on Dust 2. 11-16 in favor of Prosto on Cash. And on Mirage, it's currently 7-1. But with the screaming I just heard, I'm imagining it's going to be 8-1 in favor of Prosto as their CT side of Mirage. So we might have another team going home, unfortunately, in just a couple moments of time.
Are you ruining the scoreboard for people?
Yes.
Then they might be avidly watching scoreboard that game, and you've just ruined it based off screams.
Hey, if you can listen to 2 streams at once, then that's impressive.
You can. Yeah, you can.
I mean, you physically can, yes, but can you listen to it?
Either way. We're going to have the quick push in the MAC-10. We've seen this do a lot of damage throughout the last couple of days, and Dosia will fall victim to it once again. Mo looking to catch them on the crossbits. The horrible situation of looking away at just the wrong time. Close to catching one through the smoke, and Elam really has just done damage. He's looking to take a leaf out of SDY's book. He managed to be so successful with that gun yesterday on this map, but 3 players remaining. You have to wonder if Gambit might just save both AWPs. You're not going to be really retaking in this situation unless mistakes are made. And you got a couple of players who can drop weapons, or at least Dosia can probably buy himself. So yeah, Syman are going to make this force buy work. The question is, can they actually save the remainder of their weapons? I would like to see the MAC-10s at least pushing. Like, you're probably going to want to buy those up in the next round anyway. Why not try and retrieve an AWP, or remove one at least?
I think Neelan had a M4, didn't he? Yeah, because they had 2 MAC-10s. So they actually were not able to even recover the weapon that Neelan just dropped from the frag out of Mo.
Well, I don't know if he traded it out, because I know he at least had, he was the one who got the 2 entries with the MAC-10. So I don't know if he switched it, but either way, he's been caught at the end. And yeah, I would have liked to see them try and rush down that AWP, because just the value added to get it onto Disbalance. They will have it anyway, but he could have had extra utility, had armor, yada yada.
I mean, if you get, even if you just kill one of them, they're not going to be able to rebuy it the next round.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing as well, is in terms of the buy that's coming in this round, yeah, you remove one AWP and they don't even really have a full buy at all. Like, it would be much more questionable. Instead, they've still got the 2 AWPs, they've got a weapon that's dropped over to Dosia, 2 M4s alongside that, so yeah, pretty much a full buy coming in for Gambit. 1 or 2 weapons gone, and then questions begin to be asked.
Well, here we go. Round number 9 kicking off. Syman, again, we haven't really seen any set A executes. We didn't really see too many yesterday in the match versus Spirit with Syman. I think we saw like 1 or 2, and that was like towards the very end of normal time. We have, looks like Bondic, me in shadow. Actually, I think he's above. Towards the balcony side, and we have Axon going to be holding over towards A-Ramp, which the push is going to come in, and Neelan's going to quickly dispose this. Bondic now is going to try to hold on to this, tries to go for the kill on the sandwich. He does get it. Does at least get the 1-for-1 before he just get traded off. And we'll try to hold from CT and Doge. I feel like he did just see Sanji there.
If he did, you got to hope that he's actually called that into the rest of his team, because there's still the chance that he could wrap around, but with the bomb going down, he's just going to look to try and hold onto that jungle control. The remaining 2 players looking to sneak their way out through this CT spot. Now Sanji is just homed in. Dosia definitely seems aware of the timing, but he just about peeks back in time to find that kill. Now Mo and Mir, well, they've got 2 AWPs. Again, it's not the ideal for the retake. They need to be doing more in terms of the initial rounds, and by the looks of things, we're back into another save for Gambit. 6th on the board for Syman.
Wondering if Syman's actually go for the challenge here. Probably not, since Perfecto did just fall. Don't want to make it too costly, but Torque does secure an op. It actually does get rid of 1 on the side of Gambit. Able to save the rest, and not a real chance Gambit's going to buy here, but still, that 1 op. I mean, we've seen what Mo could do on Train just earlier on today. There's definitely still a chance Gambit can take this round back. It's just going to be that much more difficult, as Syman's starting to really build up some steam here. They won the first 4, then they lost 3, and then won the next 2. And on T side of Mirage, it's not a bad start at all.
Yeah, I wonder if Mir's actually going to give it over, or if he's just going to go for an aggro play. I would actually quite like to see him keep it, because he is such a aggressive player at times, like in the sort of Vegas Squadron days, where he could just make these fights, and I like this. Rather than going for the sort of more risky boost or the running jump, he's going to go through, but Sanji's so quick onto shore, that AWP is gone. It's nullified within seconds. Mo almost manages to take the long-range fight with the CZ instead, but now he's met with fire. Will fall to the hands of Disbalance once again. Sanji, his aggressive push at the start of the round kicked things off, and, well, he's looking to put it to bed.
Bomb's going to be planted over towards the A site. And the thing is, I know, we got a chance, to talk to Solar. I interviewed him yesterday for a little side thing, and he was saying that, they were able to boot camp a decent amount of time. I think they said like 1 or 2 players wasn't able to get a visa in time, so they weren't all together. But they're able to practice in Russia. They went to get things honed in for this whole tournament. And they did say he was very vocal about, yeah, we'd rather play Nemiga because we're gonna feel more confident. We don't want to play against Gambit a second time after we've kind of shown some cards. And in their case, if they can avoid going to Train, if they can take this in 2, then there's that. I mean, obviously they take in 2, they're going to win. But if they get onto Train, I would feel like Gambit would have the read finally, having the time and a demo to watch to figure out what to do against this squad.
Yeah, that's for sure. But even still, on Mirage, they've started off very strong indeed. It is going to be CT side once again with the buy, but, well, neither of those AWPs remaining for this round at least. It's only going to be pure rifles, no incendiaries, not a kit in sight either. And the T's looking to further build into their lead, a chance for them to win themselves the half already. Run boost thrown in to give Disbalance a little bit of positioning, but the fact is there's no challenge for mid in this round. It's only going to be held from the connector by Bondik, and realistically he's got to be very careful around this position, although it has now been smoked off by the T side.
Interesting initial start to the round 2 for Syman, because they didn't have anyone towards the A side at all. They had Torque watching the flank from B side of T spawn. Mo, oh, wait, did those? Okay, I thought those nades like collided, but he actually missed and hit the wall. And it bounced off that mouth, I was going to miss. And Sanji tries to push in, but it doesn't seem to matter here. Mo able to clean him up, but Nealon's going to be there to return. Push coming in towards B. Now, Mirage, they get caught, I think, switching weapons there, and Doja quickly gets disposed of. And just like that, Syman are going to have that first half victory. Going to be going up to 8-3 here, most likely. Axel probably just going to try to save the weapon. And there's a chance that Syman's going to actually hunt this one out.
Yeah, no real reason not to. They've got a reasonable amount of cash over on the other side. The man who's dead still has $9,000 in the bank, and Axel's got too many angles left to hold. But yeah, that B site again, it sort of didn't come under pressure for a while after Dosia had a couple of rounds where he was able to hold it down, but I feel like if he doesn't have somewhat of a hero play over on that site, it just falls very, very easily. And the A site's not been going much better, in all honesty. Yeah. It's looking like Syman have their number at the moment, and well, again, they managed to beat them yesterday. They're looking to try and do it again. I love how vocal the coach is. He's obviously not allowed to talk unless it's a pause time, but he can at least scream as loud as he wants, and if they can hear him, well, what can you do about it?
Yeah, don't know. I'm actually surprised to see Gambit, by the way, not go for more aggressive defense in the beginning. We did see Spirit up against Syman go for like a middle push you know, quite a few times. That's where we've seen like the focus almost every single round so far. At Syman, it's been let's get control of middle, let's work off of that. And we haven't seen Gambit respond to that. They're kind of stuck in their ways of, you know, putting 2 players towards B, maybe American watch towards middle with Doja alone at the site. And then you have Mo trying to watch from connector, trying to watch from window. And there's been really no adaptation, I'd say, out of Gambit so far.
And that's quite interesting for me, actually, because if you look at, say, Mir's old team at least, that was something they relished. Vega Squadron were a team who loved to take mid-control, loved to push aggressively and really take the fights, especially to teams that they thought they were better than. But even against teams like FaZe, they would still do the same thing. So it's definitely within Mir's playbook. It might just be more of the rest of the players not really feeling comfortable with such an aggressive standpoint because, well, a lot of teams wouldn't be. It is somewhat a ludicrous thing to do, but in these sort of situations where you are just getting bodied, I think you need to have maybe a bit more of a cheesy strategy to try and get you back into the game, because at the moment, as said, Syman looking like they have their opponent's number. There are a few rounds where Gambit finally got themselves back into it, purchased into double ops, and then the pace changed and Syman adapted.
And Bondic hasn't really been able to shine so far. He's currently at 5 and 11 in this half. I feel like if you get him in mid somehow, you know, go for a 3-man push or a 2-man push with 1 towards window, you can get some early control and take that away. Sanji already tucked away in the B site. It's a great little frag there. I mean, this should be a round that Syman's going to win either way since they're up against kind of like the save, mostly the save out of Gambit. It should take them to 9. This is a hefty scoreline.
Yeah, this is a strong T half already coming out. We've seen some really strong CT play coming out from Syman, but it was the T side that really let them down in the game that they played yesterday. The CT side, they managed to string it all the way back to overtime. So. See,
at the same time, I'm curious, was Syman that good on CT side, or was Spirit that bad on T side? I think it's a little bit of column A and B there.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially column B, because Spirit just did not seem to have a response. It was, hey, you know, Dima, get us a kill in mid, or get us a kill somewhere so we can take a site.
The other thing as well that makes like this map for them at least like multi-sided, I would say, is the fact that just looking at the score, we just had it up. Every single player is positive. Every single player is having impact. Every single player is finding opening kills. And I think obviously a lot of props have to go to Sanji, who I think has been really impressive so far, like getting opening picks a lot for this team, but at the same time, there's not been any sort of reactive play or any reaction from Gambit. It's pretty much just been, okay, let's just keep doing what we're doing, and if it doesn't work, then I guess we've lost.
Well, quick update again for you guys at home. Prosto's up 13-1 up against Runtime on Mirage. 3 rounds away from getting themselves through to play in the final decider match to see the final team to get through from Group B into the playoffs. We're seeing a little bit of a switch up though. Look at Mo. He's getting up in towards middle, or was. He was at least in towards underpass, trying to look for an angle, trying to catch him off. And it's delayed timing. It's not like Syman's like running straight into underpass every time. They've actually delayed it quite a bit. Many rounds in a row to maybe kind of read into any sort of early aggression out of the AWP.
Still waiting over towards ramp, looking like they're going to go for the split into on the A site. Bondic ready and waiting, just going to be trying to section them off with the smoke, but they're actually going to go for the boost into window. They've adapted very quickly indeed as the rest of the team now look to just barrel out the ramp. This time Mo is going to be there to kick things off with the AWP, but he's already starting to take a hefty amount of damage, and now Neelan actually pincers in from the spot. Axel's completely surrounded, manages 1, but the second's not going to go his way. However, his teammates have arrived. Mir managing to keep the man advantage going. Perfecto now the one needing to step up in this scenario, the one with HP, looking to try and take a little bit more control. If he can win this duel over to CT, there's a chance for them here, and he does. His teammates also whittled down the remaining couple of players, but he's starting to take damage through the wall as well. Bondic with an intense double, leaving a 4th round on the board for his team. And, wow, Syman, they brought it close, but not quite.
Help me out here. Did Neelan come in from connector, or did he actually push into the site from A ramp? I can't tell because I feel like he was able to wrap around. I think he did come from connector.
I think that was that not the boost into window?
Ah, okay, because I was going to say, because Bondic was in connector the whole time. I was wondering, did he not see him? All right, so the boost came through, was able to get through in time.
That's what I mean. They were so fast to adapt. The second they saw the smoke come out, they boosted a player straight into the window within 3 seconds of it going down.
And then Mo was over in the A site, so they had no one actually lock that position down. Well, there we go, a little bit of a quicker play towards A, it seems. Are they going to commit to it, though, will be another question. 3 players from Palace. It's going to be all on Axel, actually, to defend against this. Mo's been completely taken out, despite Axel can't hit his shots. Mo going to push past the smoke to get 1 kill on Asanji, but just going to retreat away to look for his teammates. There's still a ton of utility to work with for Syman. Look at this. They have 6 flashes, a smoke, 2 Molotovs. Just got to get this bomb down and look for this afterplant situation. And at that same note, Gambit as well have a lot to use to retake.
Yeah, that's the sort of play when a fast push comes into one of these sites is the CTs don't have time to throw out utility, so it means they have a lot to actually retake with. However, they're just being held out of the sites by the moment. Battles are just coming in through smokes, and Nealon again, the impact frag to get them that man advantage once more. Perfecto even coming in on the flank. There's nobody actually in middle for the CT side, so they've got to be very careful. They should be aware of the potential of this chance, but the fact is I think they've realized the clock's too far gone. The flank will never come into play, as Gambit have had to duck out of this round, but Nealon, he's not finished. He knows they have the money. Peak going to be back in from Bondik, and well, maybe he should have been finished.
I think Torik's not going to fall for that trap, especially when Mir was rotating back in towards CT. 10-4 scoreline, T side of Mirage here for Syman Gaming. Didn't really expect that, but hey, all that preparation coming into today is seeming to really pay off. I mean, this was their map of choice. We would be going on to Dust 2 next, which is Gambit's. Let's see here. Can we see Syman close it out with 11? Will Gambit be able to get their 5th on the board? Last time they did meet was on Train yesterday, and Gambit did have a 5-round half on T side on Train.
Middle control going to be battled. Mo, how does he get away with that? Stuck in mid. Bondik's actually going to take the hit for him instead, as Disbalance is not happy with his teammate going down. Xao looked like he's about to take a bit of a fight. Mir's well placed to at least close down 1 for the T side. Looking to try and get their 5th on the board, but that battle on ramp has gone the other way, and they actually don't have anybody else in the A site. It's completely abandoned by the CT side. Luckily for them, early in the round, the bomb still sits at the top of mid, so chances are that they will be able to get some players in play, but they're actually going to go rotating back. Now, none of them have actually picked up the bomb. I imagine Torik's going to come around and do that, but after just showing a little bit over towards the A site, that's enough for a full rotation from Gambit, and now the T's, they're setting up into B.
Once Torik gets there, they immediately pick up the pace. Doja has another chance to come up big for his team. Another round on the board. He's taken down to 6 health, though. Not really able to return any sort of damage onto the other side. The bomb going to be planted, but Doja plays it smart. Wait for the team to rotate back in, but Disbalance is watching this window like a hawk. Well, a hawk that likes to turn its head in multiple directions, I guess. But all 3 players will be coming from Kitchen. Here's the flashbang. Another one out of Mir going to be coming in a few seconds. Perfecto set up in a really nice position behind Van.
And they're all so low, and well, the only utility they've had is flashbangs. They don't have any incendiaries, and they're being picked off one by one. Dosia's doing his best to try and save them, but the half will go 11-4, and well, there's going to have to be a hefty comeback for Gambit, and we'll find out after the break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2019 CSGO Major. This is the CIS Minor. We're into the second half now of our first map between Gambit and Syman Gaming. Currently, it's 11-4 scoreline here for Syman. Jason Kaplan still joined here by Tom Luckley as he puts up with my rambling on into what this event is called. Every time you do it, and with a smile on your face.
Wow, I feel like the owner who we met yesterday of Syman's probably also got a big smile on his face at the moment. 11-4. Lovely guy, by the way.
Very.
Has to be said. Offered us some interesting snacks, but...
dried milk,
me,
which was basically cheese.
Yeah, well, it wasn't for me, but I appreciate it. Then again, just like you offering everybody a chicken. But moving on from that, we are going to have the pistol round already kicking off with Bondik finding the opening pick. I think it's important that Gambit do get off to a strong start on this T side, as Syman with another pistol could have this game almost done before we get to see Gambit's T side at all. However, they've had to gamble a little bit away from the B side, but the aggression in from Disbalance has already evened things up, and they want to be careful over on the other side as we almost lose Mir. Torik's going to catch the rotator, and these individual duels just seem to be going the way every single time of the CT side. It's left onto Axile and Bondik, the man who kicked off the kills. Now his young teammate has managed to already find one back, leaving it into a 3v2. Now Perfecto needs at least one here, and he has, to give this the advantage over to the other side. Now can Bondik escape? Now that's brilliant. He can now double back all the way over onto the other side of the map. I think obviously his opponents are going to know it's coming, but he should be able to get the bomb down and play this from a new position.
Instead of rotating quickly here for Syman, they're actually going to still stick together a bit. Make sure to not throw this round away. Yeah, the bomb will get planted, but this is still their chance to go up to 12.
Yeah, Bondik knows it as well. Just tries to take the fight versus the individual on short, but the fact is the CT side have been given the opportunity to team up. They found the kit as well. So Bondik has to try and somehow segregate these players, find that individual duel. He's going to spin back around from behind, finds the first, but Neelam manages to somehow dodge that second bullet. Bondik looking to win this pistol all on his own, and he'll do it as well. 4 kills for the new man on the block, and what a fantastic pistol round from Bondik.
Look at his face in the picture as well. That's exactly what I imagine the face he's making after, like, come on, really?
I've got to do it all myself, right?
Yeah. Well done by him. 4 massive frags, too, considering how this was going. Disbalance had a couple of great shots. Torque as well, taking on 2. But the patience there, that's what you get out of the experience out of a player like Bondik, I guess. Been around for such a long time that he's used to being in those situations. He's not going to mess those up most times. And that was a massive round they needed, too, because that could have been 12. That could have been potentially like 13 on the board. And that could have been the map actually just slipping away from them.
Yeah. Stepping up big when needed already. Looking like a decent addition to this team. Had a pretty good game over on Inferno as well in the previous best of 3, but either way, they've still got a long way to go. We're going to see a bit of investment here from the CT side. I'm interested to see if they will go for a buy into the next, or if this is just part of a big save to get themselves a bolstered buy going into round number 4. But for now, T-side have already found the opener. Lots of SMGs, lots of chance to build up some money over the next round. Nice work from Sanji, though. Already going to pick off 1. Looking for a little bit more, but it won't be found. And now the A-site falls into the hand of this T-side. It's only going to be the 2 remaining rotating in from CT, and they will go down without a point. Damage down.
11-6 now, Gambit. Starting to get their climb back into this first map. Remember, we still have Dust 2 and Train to come up if we do need that 3rd map. And this is still the choice of Syman Gaming. We're going to have the M4s this time. I wonder what happens, though, when Disbalance gets the AWP. Sadly, we didn't really get to see much of the Mo versus Disbalance show. It didn't really happen that often, whether that was just due to not really being able to afford the AWP or just because of the positions they were holding. I think Mo was more towards mid/A. And he wasn't able to really get any sort of chance to battle out against his counterpart, considering Syman always got that full control down.
But I think also Mo got entryed quite a lot of times by Sanji. I think they were just the sort of aggressive pushes that they had coming into the site. And yeah, they never really came across each other because Mo was much more passive. Like he didn't play any sort of aggressive angles, and yeah, it made it quite difficult for them to ever meet. But either way, we do have the purchase in for the CT side. And I was sort of talking as if they were going to sort of save their money up and give themselves that bolster buy. Instead, they basically fight with bare rifles. Okay, they have a kit, they do have a smoke and a flashbang, but considering there's over a minute left in the round, that's really not that much.
Nealon going to be pushed up towards a ramp here with Bondic to potentially pull off the flank in towards Palace, trying to look for any sort of aggression as the bomb does make its way here. It seems like it's going to be a little bit of a delayed 3-2 onto the A site. Sanji has fallen inside of jungle, unfortunately. Kills from House, but Nealon, oh, he goes big. He gets 2 massive kills, and that actually gets the bomb now down. The rotations can come through. They have to worry about the other players. If Gambit, though, Doja's going to fall as he doesn't check jungle at the right moment. Things would come down to Bondic trying to do something up against Nealon to pick this bomb back up. At the time, they did have the minute remaining, and Syman had to hold on to it with like 1 flash and 1 smoke. Well, they haven't used either of them, and they have the bomb in their hands.
Yeah, the time is just going to be the biggest issue here at the moment for the T side, and I think, yeah, both realize that they're going to try and escape. I don't know how Mir gets away with that one, but Torek loses his head as he loses his footing, and while the T's should be able to hold on to their remaining weapons, no real challenge coming in for the CT side, and understandable. They haven't built up any economy as this is the first round they've managed to win in the second half.
Still important considering Syman had no utility to halt any sort of push, right? And then Nealon with those 2 kills on A ramp, getting the bomb down most importantly, it just completely turned how that round was going to play out. Torek as well, watching the flank from Doja. Maybe Doja was able to work with Bondic as they would try to hit back in towards their own T spawn, but that's not the way it went. Now Syman gets themselves 1 step closer to taking this first map, this best of 3.
Look at this play from the CTs. 3 players aggressive into middle. This is what we wanted to see from Gambit. We'll see if it works. Flashbang's good, and that's already 2 kills. The 3rd will come in for Idis Balance as well. And Gambit have been caught with their pants down. Sheer aggression from the Syman side, and well, Dosia and Bondic are left in a 4v2.
I think Sanji has a pretty good idea that Doja is going to be down here. Looks like Bondic could be rotating back in towards T-spawn, so you've got Disbalance watching the upper part of mid, which allows Sanji to watch this direction. They kind of all spread out, actually. I'm kind of surprised to not see them all group up towards the bomb themselves and then just watch the other angles around middle. But Doja has fallen out, just going to all come into the hands of Bondic, who in the pistol round was able to pull it off. I don't think it's going to be so much here. He needs to hit a fantastic shot on Sanji, but he's not going to be able to. And just like that, that aggression, like you pointed out, that we wanted to see out of Gambit, it works completely against them as Syman takes advantage.
Yeah, just a nice little push, a fast push up mid, and Nealon with the spray control to basically get 2.5, like doing a lot of damage onto the second. Either way, now the T's really are in trouble. The money has been absolutely ruined very early on. You can see Blade, he's still laid back in his chair, but his facial expressions are not so laid back.
I mean, it's got to be tough, right? You haven't had much time together to play as a team. You've already lost this team once yesterday. You've had to play another match prior to this, though it was pretty one-sided, so it's not like they, you know, got exhausted from it, especially with how much they're used to playing. Gotta love Solar.
You just do. I don't think it's allowed to dislike him.
Just don't do that one thing that happened over at Take TV. I think it was the coach. Was it Mouse Sports? And like he hit Crystal, and Crystal like couldn't defuse the bomb anymore, and they lost a round because of it. Yeah, he like shook him, and he actually like fell off the bomb, and it cost him to lose the round. They still won the match in the end, but you can see like every player look at him and like, what the hell are you doing?
Do it once the round's over. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Safest bet. Either way, it's a P250. That is it. That's all that's invested for Gambit in this round. Syman, well, I can't really get much easier than this, but we'll see. Maybe a little bit of damage can be done by Gambit. The main goal would be to get a bomb plant and earn a little bit of extra cash because they're only on a 2,400 loss bonus, so there's no real chance to get an AWP or not really get much at all going into the next round. Just the AKs and a couple of grenades. Nice little spray down from Nealon. He's not a man who really needs his stats padded, but still gets a couple of extra kills. And, well, as long as they don't lose anyone else, this has still been a relatively successful round for them.
Mir will have access to that M4. The thing is, he has no armor, and that aim punch is going to be coming very true. I think the last 2 players are as well, so we see the rotations coming back in. Sanji going to go over towards short, and Bondic's going to be running into, well, a brick wall here in a few moments. 30 seconds left. As we'll put Syman up to 14. I wonder when we go into Dust 2 if that's going to favor them a little bit more. I want to say, from what we saw yesterday, Gambit looked stronger with Mir and Mo when it comes to double op setup compared to Syman. Would you agree with that? I mean, I don't think we saw too much out of Syman.
The only thing I will say is that we didn't really see much of like...
Sorry, just saw him screaming again.
Didn't really see much of Mir's AWP at all, even in the last map. Like, I wouldn't say it was like particularly impressive. Like, well, I wasn't looking and going, oh wow, he's really good with that AWP. I don't think. I think it's hard to argue it either way. I think they've both got obvious primary AWPers who will be the real battle, and then anything else I think is just going to be thrown in base more off position than anything. Like, okay, if I'm on Dust 2 or on Train, just heading over to Ivy or heading over to B, like if you're just holding an angle, I think most of the players on this team will be able to hit those shots.
Well, Dust 2 is still a couple of rounds away. And Syman look pretty damn focused. I mean, this would be massive for them too, to be able to get through into the major. Well, obviously have one more step to go before then in the playoffs. And while we do have a quick second. So the winner of this, I believe, goes up to play against Windstrike. And then the winner of the other series to come up later on the B stream plays against Spirit. So Windstrike obviously had to go cross groups. It's going to be an interesting team for either of these two to play against. Axel trying to push in towards underpass. Sanji's going to be waiting. He's going to actually push up aggressively. He spots out his elbow. And unfortunately, the elbow won't be enough to stop Axel from taking him down.
Yeah, I think whoever is the one to go forward is going to have a tough battle, or a tougher battle than they're having at the moment, because realistically, Windstrike have looked fantastic.
They beat Avagar.
Yeah, and beat our favourites, so pretty much everyone's favourites in this one. Either way, Gambit looking to show a little bit of life towards the... Well, looks like the end of this map, but obviously still a final hurdle to be had by Syman. They can't get overconfident in this situation, but as we said yesterday, their CT side did seem strong, whether or not it was the weakness of their opponents. Neelan actually getting away with that. I don't know how he jumps down in towards the underpass and still manages to survive. The problem is he's now trapped. He needs some sort of support. He needs a kill, really, to get out of this position. He is going to go for the peek, and Mo's now tagged within just inches of his life. Dosia finally will pounce in and finish him off, but even still, they got a little bit too close for comfort, and now Perfecto having a much better game today. He's all alone. Doesn't have anyone beside him, and unfortunately, I think the bomb may be heading over to the A site just based on the position of Mir.
I can imagine Perfecto just going to try to save this as well. Not a ton of money to use in their banks. They could really afford to keep on to every weapon they possibly can. So this will put Gambit up to 7. I do like the utility usage here as well, just to make sure to get this down, considering how little time you have left. It's like, let's not chance it, right? Let's not let him just get a kill into our bomb planter, run away, and then we lose the round. But it seems like Perfecto will go for the challenge here. So make it expensive for the side of Gambit, and oh, he had a second to challenge before his head got blown off, and that will be Gambit taking the round.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that. I'll be honest. I think that's way too overzealous to try and make that play, especially when you look at the fact that Torek in this situation can't even really afford a gun. Like, he's very close to sort of having like the rifle and everything else, but it's not quite there. So they're going to have to either drop down to an SMG or severely take hits on utility. And although they've managed to steal away rounds like that in the past, I think just having an extra rifle, making sure that you can have a proper full buy going into the next round is worth it, especially when you're this far up. Like, it's 14-7. It's not like this is a round where, okay, this will get them level pegging or get them to map point or even close. It's, you literally have so many rounds to play with. Focus on your own stuff, and maybe he's just got that sort of in the back of the mind of, I can be the hero, I can be the one to sort of take us closer to the minor, but... Yeah.
I mean, mentally, that'd be devastating for Gambit too, to lose a 1v3 like that.
Yeah, but it's chance of it happening is 1 in 100.
100%?
No, I said 1 in 100.
Oh, I said 100. I'm like, all right, that's pretty guaranteed. I feel like he should have gone for it better. Here we go, into round number 22. And like you said, Torek didn't really have the money to afford a weapon, so he's going to be back on the SMG. Not a lot of utility on the side of Syman. They do have a couple of smokes. They have actually quite a few of them at 4.
Flawless.
It's like Bled trying to climb the ladder to get on top of his boxes for the analysis desk.
They actually just have a man that just picks him up. It's just like putting them in the little high chair.
I wanna, you know those baby carriers? I kind of want to like wear one and just put them in it.
That's how you should cast.
That'd be a crazy duo, actually. Actually, we have cast together way back in the day for the
like
Cologne qualifiers in Kuala Lumpur. Back in 2015. Me, Demon, and him. This is his first LAN event, actually. Got to be working with him yet again. And Gambit's going to be glad to have still a saving chance here in this map. Disbalance, though, inside of house, has an opportunity to play spoiler onto Mo, who's towards his right-hand side. And Mo's going to be pretty much by himself.
Yeah, the T's severe lack of utility, though, is something that worries me in this situation. They've got no smokes, one Molotov. That one Molotov, I almost guarantee, is just going to be thrown straight into the car. Like, I'd be very surprised to see anything else. So, okay, sure, there's one angle clear, but other than that, they can't clear anything else. And this is where the smokes would normally fall. Mo, that's a slight misspray, or Axar, whatever. It gets away with it, and Mo's going to find another one. Perfecto still in the corner, has caught off one more. Mo left with just 10 HP to try and fight this back, and barely any time. The seconds match his health as he has to try and just push back into the site. He's retrieved the bomb, but Toric's there. That MP9 will come into play in the end, and that is the 15th on the board. And, well, I have to feel that that came down to utility. Obviously, Mo's, I think it was Mo's misspray. I think Axel then gets the kill from apartments. So that really is a mistake, that shooting him from behind is just completely missing and gives way too much time for the rest of the players as well to rotate in. But that's where you have those sort of double smokes that fall down, and that player is completely isolated. There's no way he gets that first kill. But even bigger problem, I just think Mo didn't have the timing right for that peak. So 15 and 7, they're now fighting with their backs up against the wall. A couple of pistols, a MAC-10, 2 rifles, and even one of them is a Galil, which, well,
is it really a rifle?
Of course it is. Say what you want about it. Nealon again, he's been pushing underpass a little bit too much for my liking. But I like the confidence, but it's getting to the point where they know he's coming almost every single round. So either way, it is going to be, again, some mid presence being taken. The T's in the meantime setting up over towards the A site. And
I love the mid hold, though. Like, that's something we didn't see at a Gambit at all. And there we go. The flash comes in. Nealon gets the check on it. They get the information that there's no one currently in middle. They can watch underpass now because of it. Like, there's so much presence in Syman out of middle. It's almost as if they're playing T side from how we just saw them in the first half.
Well, the other thing as well is I like how they're playing together. Like, the synergy between these guys is good. Like you said, there's one watching one spot, one watching another to make sure that anything else, then a flash pops over. And yeah, it just allows Perfecto to be set up to find those 2 kills. This is now only a push from ramp. Toric can spray one down. Disbalance is there as well. Amir's got 20 HP and he's got to try and find 4 players. It's just not happening. And that turned into a pretty damn dominant display coming out from Syman Gaming. The team that came into this as pretty much one of the main underdogs has just come and absolutely destroyed Gambit for the 2nd time in this tournament.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head to a break, but when we come back, we'll be kicking off Dust 2 with Syman Gaming being up 1-0 against Gambit.